if you do not perform, or if you have not performed, and if you do not perform, this is a protest vote we are going to place, and that signal, that protest vote will go down very well, because the government will know that their popularity is coming down and they will have to arrest it.
This government needs checks and balances.
You can't say only winning parties announce their candidates. They have.
Good evening, you're watching Primetime News on TV1 live and direct from our Newsfirst studios in Colombo. Bringing you the news, I'm Joad Abdin.
And I'm Rochelle Timodero. These are your headlines for tonight.
JVP turns 60. Bold moves ahead, says party leader and President Anura Kumara.
කුමන සුළු කුණාටු හැමුවත් කුමන ප්‍රචණ්ඩකාරීත්වයක් ඇති වුණත් මේ යාත්‍රාව සහතික වශයෙන් ජයග්‍රහණය වෙරළ දක්වා ගමන් කරනවා.
President challenges opposition, unite and show strength. Sri Lanka strongly opposes Canada's genocide memorial. Dengue high alert in 38 health divisions. Chikungunya spread increases. Former Minister Mahinda Nanda appeals to court to prevent arrest over Chinese fertilizer deal. Trump in Saudi Arabia announces lifting of sanctions against Syria.
And on to those stories in detail. In your top story this evening, President Anura Kumara Dissanayake today emphasized that the National People's Power will establish power in all local government bodies it has won, and that no one can obstruct this process. The President made these remarks while addressing the 60th anniversary celebration of the Janata Vimukti Peramuna.
The 60th anniversary celebration of the Janata Vimukti Peramuna was held this evening at the Vihara Mahadevi Open Air Theatre in Colombo. The event, presided over by the party leader and President Anura Kumara Dissanayake, was attended by a large gathering including Party General Secretary Tilvin Silva.
අපි හැම විටම මෙරටේ පොදු ජනතාව හමුවේ පරීක්ෂාවට භාජනය වෙන්න කැමති ව්‍යාපාරයක් පරීක්ෂාවට භාජනය කළ යුතු ව්‍යාපාරයක්.
We are a movement that likes being monitored by the general public and believe that we should be monitored as well. We need to listen to the people. Where does this movement stand today? It is with the people. Take a look at the local government elections, which provide various definitions for this. They lost the Madamulana division, which is home to several leaders of our country. As for Burala South, they lost to one of our female contestants. Take the entire south of Sri Lanka. We have lost not a single local government body. Western Province, except for 3 in the Kalutara district, we have won all other Pradeshya Sabhas. We have claimed victory in all Sabaragama Province Pradeshya Sabhas. The Northwestern Province, except for Kalpitiya, we have won everything else. Nurelia, we have won in 10 out of the 12 local government bodies there. In the 2 we lost, the number of seats are equal as the others, 6 in one and 5 in the other. In the Wani district, the NPP has garnered the highest number of votes this time as well. Ampar in the Eastern Province, Trincomalee, the highest number of votes went to the National People's Power. What about Batiklo? A percentage equal to that of the parliamentary election. Take Kilinochi and Jaffna now, second place there. In the Jaffna Municipal Council, we have 10 seats. Can't all these diverse opposition parties unite? That will result in an even worse outcome. They contest the election separately and try to unite afterwards. If they are ready to unite and contest an election, we can still hold an election once again and work together. Can this be turned around? Who is there to turn this around? Without winning a single local government body, they are dreaming of becoming the next president. They seem to think that they are also like the JVP. They are just obsolete movements. Yes, we had 3% and still won the presidential and parliamentary election. This is a feat that can be achieved only by the Janata Vimukti Peramuna. Do not even think of being like us. The people should test the JVP, this movement, over and over. We work according to our conscience. We are doing this for the very first time. We are learning as we work. We have a bond of conscience with the people of the country, going beyond the legal bond in the Constitution. We assure you one thing, we are eager to rebuild this country, and we work while listening to our conscience. Some say that they cannot see it much. Do not worry, I have mentioned this earlier. Fearlessness is not a physical factor. That is executive power. We have that, a two-thirds majority in parliament. Some ask us what we cannot do. We do not consider fearlessness the same as that. Taking the right pivotal decision at the right time is something we are not afraid of doing. Do not come to measure our strength through physical guidelines. Such politics belongs to the slavery era in Rome. Things are different now. Making the right decision bravely at the right time, giving it the right weight is what fearlessness means. This party possesses that. This government possesses that. If anyone thinks that is also insufficient and that we need more physical power, tell that to us directly. You can do that too. Wait for 2 or 3 weeks more. Our governance consists of amazing measures. We can correct our mistakes. We can understand where we go wrong. There is a good internal dialogue for that. However, I must reiterate, our method is we learn as we work, and we work as we learn. I shall assure this to the people of this country. This ship will reach the shores of victory no matter what storms approach and no matter what rough sea it has to sail through. We are now getting power beyond the parliament after the 2nd of June. 152 local government bodies can be established right at the start. The remaining 115 will be established on the right day. People have given us power in the first and second places to establish power in local government bodies. That means for the first time we have the ability to establish power in 167 local government bodies in total. Establishing power in every local government body we have won is the right we have with the people's mandate. If anyone wants to obstruct that, they have plenty of legal space to do that. We always respect the people's mandate. Now people are saying that our people's mandate is fading away. I compared the statistics of this election and the parliamentary election. Still, we have 122. When Chandrika established the government in 1994, there were only 106. If that is the case, establishing a government back then should have been impossible. Therefore, we are bound to work in line with the people's mandate. If anyone acts against the people's mandate, we are ready to act according to the Constitution, the law and politics. Go ahead. Try to last for 3 to 4 months. That is my challenge. Keep in mind, if the laws are not sufficient, we still have a two-thirds power. How can a few ruined, obsolete parties challenge the people's mandate? If they can do that, can we call ourselves a government?
සුම්බුන් එකතුවක් කොහොමද රටේ ජනවරමට අභියෝග කරන්නේ? එම අභියෝග කරනවා නම් අපි ආණ්ඩු නෙවෙයි.
The government of Sri Lanka has expressed strong objections to the Canadian High Commissioner regarding unfounded genocide allegations and the construction of a misleading monument in Canada. Foreign Minister Vijitha Herath met with the Canadian High Commissioner today to reiterate Sri Lanka's stance.
Sri Lanka maintains that allegations of genocide during the final phase of its conflict are unsubstantiated by any credible authority, either nationally or internationally, and are based on misleading information. The government believes these false narratives are propagated primarily for electoral gains within Canada. In April 2021, the Department of Foreign Affairs, Trade and Development of Canada confirmed that the Canadian government has not made any finding of genocide in Sri Lanka. Additionally, Canada designated the Liberation Tigers of Tamil Eelam, or the LTTE, as a terrorist organization in 2006 and reaffirmed this designation in June 2024. Sri Lanka has repeatedly objected to the construction of a so-called Tamil genocide monument at Chingwa Kausi Park in Brampton, Canada, urging the federal government of Canada to intervene and prevent this initiative by the Brampton City Council. Sri Lanka views this development as offensive to the broader Sri Lankan and Canadian communities. It strongly believes that the propagation of such unfounded allegations and the construction of monuments based on fabrications not only mislead the public but also hinder Sri Lanka's genuine efforts towards reconciliation, national unity and lasting peace among all communities. In this regard, Foreign Minister Vijitha Herath met with the Canadian High Commissioner to reiterate the government of Sri Lanka's strong objections regarding the unfounded genocide allegations and the approval of constructing such a monument, which complicates and undermines the government's efforts toward reconciliation and national unity.
Dengue and chikungunya. Health authorities are currently paying close attention to these two diseases. If vigilance lapses, the situation could become severe.
As the New Year and the Wesak seasons come to an end, the people of this country have to be more vigilant about their health conditions. And why is that? It's because of the rapid increase of dengue and chikungunya. Let's take a look if the people know about this issue.
No one is taking any interest on what is on the public streets. What the garbage is or the water is there. So that is also pollution. So this is responsible of the government and the local authorities. It has to be controlled. You know, our younger generation is falling into trouble. Our younger generation is our future president, our prime ministers and our ministers and the people who have to run the country. If it's not the medicine, it is the prevention. Local authority, the government, health ministry, please take action to clean the roadside water stagnant.
Now, out of the reported cases, 47% of the cases of dengue, according to the Dengue Control Unit, have been reported from the Western Province.
In 2025, up to 13 May, 19,901 dengue cases has been reported in our country. Out of them, 5,175 were reported in April, and up to now in May, 2,355 cases have been reported. Majority are reported from Western Province, that is 48% of all cases, and in Colombo, around 29% of cases are reported, and out of all the cases, 17.7% or 18% cases are reported from Ratnapura district, and close to 15% cases are reported from Gampaha.
Both diseases come with fever. Dengue is characterized by severe headache, pain behind the eyes, body aches and red rashes on the skin. Chikungunya, on the other hand, is marked by severe joint pain and swelling along with fever.
Chikungunya රෝගයේදී විශේෂයෙන්ම උනත් සමග හන්දිපත් වේදනාව සහ හන්දිවල ඉදුමම අපිට දකින්න පුළුවන්.
What is dengue? What is chikungunya? And how are these viruses spread? Let's take a look.
The most important thing is, at the same time, we are experiencing reporting of cases of chikungunya, especially in Western Province and some other districts. So both chikungunya and dengue are transmitted by the same mosquito, Aedes aegypti and Aedes albopictus. So because of that, controlling this mosquito in our environment will help us to control both diseases, dengue and chikungunya.
A special dengue eradication program will be held from the 19th to the 24th of May. And as responsible citizens of Sri Lanka, let's support this good cause.
17 people have been injured in a van accident that occurred in Ramboda, Kotmale. According to the police, the group was on their way back to Rajangania after a trip to Nurelia.
Hey, Lanka, hey, ayo, hey, ambulance, ayo, Baba, ane amke, ane pauwa ke. Hey, aye, ambulance call करना है, aye.
The van accident occurred just a few kilometers away from the location of the recent fatal bus crash that claimed 23 lives. Our Newsfirst correspondent reported that the accident had occurred when the van hit a mound and then crashed into a tree. Police suspect that a mechanical failure may have caused the accident. The 17 injured individuals have been admitted to Gampala Hospital for treatment.
A media briefing was held today under the patronage of Minister of Transport Bimal Ratnayaka regarding the recent fatal bus accident in Garadiyalla, which claimed the lives of 23 individuals.
The driver involved was a 44-year-old in excellent health condition with no record of alcohol consumption. He had taken a half-hour break and the accident occurred just minutes into the next leg of the journey. There were over 77 passengers on board. Legally, we are allowed to carry passengers up to 140% of the number of available seats. This particular bus was certified as roadworthy for that day's operations. We refer to what the driver stated as a driver's report. The assistant driver of the bus said that as a professional driver, he checked the power system and oil levels and ensured everything was in order. The engineering manager on duty that day personally conducted the final inspection of the bus before it was dispatched.
එදා දවසේ ඩිපෝ ඉංජිනේරු කළමනාකාරතුමාමයි මේ බස් රථේ අවසානයේ පරීක්ෂා කළා තියෙන්නේ. මොනවද කරලා තියෙන්නේ?
රියදුරු නිරීක්ෂණ ක්‍රම වේදයන් පාවිච්චි කරනවා.
We are implementing driver monitoring systems using cameras as well as AI systems and GPS tracking. These systems can monitor whether a driver is falling asleep, fatigued, distracted or making excessive phone calls. Such technologies already exist in the global private sector. So we have decided to move forward with them too. We can't implement everything all at once across Sri Lanka, but we are making it mandatory for all SLTB and private long-distance buses to be equipped with these AI-based systems. These will be linked to both the bus license and the route permit. There's limited value in responding emotionally. That's why there is now immense and actually very responsible media pressure on the police, especially from social media, which we consider positive. If the police act with more consultation and care, it would be even better. And we acknowledge that. However, as a ministry, we've taken 3 months to work this out. We are now ready to act. We'll allow a transition period, 1, 2 or even 3 months for buses, school vans and three-wheelers to prepare for these changes. Also, from the 1st of January 2026, only safe, sub-modern and upgraded passenger buses that meet enhanced safety standards will be allowed to be imported to Sri Lanka. What do we mean by good vehicles? Vehicles with enhanced safety features. But what happens with such vehicles? They are more expensive. Then headline appears asking, with these price hikes, who can afford them? If we want to bring in the safest passenger buses in the world, we need the best economy, the best education, well-disciplined officials and highly cultured media. All of these are essential.
අපිට ලෝකේ තියෙන ආරක්ෂිතම මගී ප්‍රවාහන බස් එක ගේන්න නම් ලෝකේ හොඳම ආර්ථිකයයි, හොඳම අධ්‍යාපනයයි, හොඳම බිහේවියර් එක සහිත නිලධාරීවරුයි, ඊටාම කල්චර්ඩ් මාධ්‍යයි මේ ඔක්කොම ඕනේ.
The National Transport Commission states that the majority of public passenger transport vehicles in the country are not compliant with regulations. The Commission highlights that according to the Motor Transport Act, it is not permissible to modify lorry chassis into buses for operation.
By 2022, the total number of buses in the country was 113,268. Of these, 19,862 buses were used for public passenger transport by the private sector, with 3,129 of them allocated for inter-provincial services. Annually, between 2,500 and 3,000 people die in road accidents, with 1,691 incidents involving buses occurring in 2022 alone. A significant number of buses in the country are modified from lorry chassis, which raises concerns about their safety in accidents. It is questionable whether thorough investigations are conducted regarding the potential harm that these buses could cause in accidents. However, such buses cannot be legally used for passenger transport in Sri Lanka. The National Transport Commission has stated that it is not feasible to remove all lorry chassis buses at once due to their long-standing use. Consequently, new specifications have been issued mandating bus chassis for new buses.
ආරක්ෂාව පැත්තෙන් බලලා ප්‍රමිතීකරණයේ අපේ ලොකු අඩුවක් තියෙනවා. මේක බස් වලට.
We have a significant gap in standards, not just for buses. For 50 to 60 years, we adhere to European standards. But due to profitability, we started importing buses from India. Even now, organizations have proposed providing low-flow AC buses to Sri Lanka at affordable rates. But we haven't been able to import a single bus in the last 5 years.
ආයතන ඉදිරිපත් වෙලා තියෙනවා. මෙතෙක් අපිට මේ අවුරුදු 5ක් තුල එක බස් එකක් ගෙන්නන්න බැරි වෙලා තියෙනවා.
One of the most tragic bus accidents in recent history occurred 20 years ago at the Yangalmodara railway crossing, claiming 40 lives. As the 20th anniversary of that accident approached, another severe bus accident occurred on the 11th of this month. On the Gampula main road in the Kotmale Garandi Ella area, a bus overturned into a precipice, resulting in 23 fatalities. Even within this year, numerous lives have been lost due to bus accidents. Here are a few examples. On the 11th of January, a bus accident in the Passara 10th milepost area injured 4 people, with the bus being driven by the conductor. On the 19th of January, a collision between 2 buses in Talalla, Gandhara injured 61 people. On the 26th of January, a collision involving 3 buses at the Agulugaha junction on the Gaul Akurasa road injured 29 people. In February, a bus collided with a van, resulting in 2 deaths and 35 injuries. On the 10th of February, a bus accident in Thorayaya, Kurunagala resulted in 4 deaths and 27 injuries. On the 29th of April, a collision between 2 buses in Beliatta injured 3 people. On the 1st of May, a collision between 2 buses in Min area, Minhirigama, resulted in 2 deaths and 18 injuries. On the 13th of May, a bus accident in Aladenia, Kandy, injured 37 people.
Why is that bus going from Kartaragama to Kurunagal on that road? Climbing mountains, descending in the mist at that time of the day. And these are government institutions that also need to be held accountable for the way they operate buses, the way the buses are regulated, the quality of the buses, the quality of the drivers, the quality of their training. And I think we only are good at asking the question why, but not going beyond that to do what is necessary to prevent that from happening. So I hope, at least this time, as we always hope as professionals, because we have told repeatedly the first steps that need to be done to make our roads safer, that this would be a time when the political authority, the officials would take serious note of doing something systematic, scientific, to change this situation for the better.
News First with the people.
The pandal of the Sirasa Namami Sirasa Vesak zone depicting the Andabhuta Jataka is on display for the 3rd day today.
The exposition of Sarvajna relics of Lord Buddha and Maharahat Theras in line with the Sirasa Namami Sirasa Vesak zone concluded at midnight yesterday. Up until midnight yesterday, the Sarvajna relics exposition drew thousands of devotees from all across the island.
මේ කරන සත්කාර සිරසට ගොඩක් පිං කියන්න තියෙන හොඳ උතුම් කාර්යයක් කරන්න කියන
හැම අවුරුද්දකම මේ වෙසක් කලාපය අපිත් වන්දනා කරනවා
තුන්රුවන් වැඳ ගත්ත පුතේ හැවිද ගන්න බැරුව ඉන්නේ කියලා නිම කරන්න බැරි මෙතන සතුටක් තියෙනවා
ගොඩාක් පිං ඉතින් අපේ වගේ එකක් බලන්න ලැබිච්ච එක
සිරසා
The beautiful pandal depicting the Andabhuta Jataka can be viewed by those visiting the Sirasa Namami Sirasa Vesak zone today and tomorrow.
ලස්සන වැඩසටහනක් මේ වැඩසටහන දීර්ඝ කාලීන කරගන්න අපි ආශිර්වාද පතනවා.
හොඳ වැඩසටහනක් ඉතින් අපි මේ දෙවෙනි වතාවට ආවේ.
හරිම ලස්සන වැඩසටහනක් මේක සිරස මාධ්‍යජාලයටත් ඇත්තට මේම ස්තුති කරනවා.
දන්සල් කෑවා හොඳයි. ගොඩාක් පිං සිදු වෙනවා.
ගොඩක් සතුටුයි අපි 12 පාගින් ඉඳලා ආවේ.
සිරත සියලු දෙනාටම දෙවියන්ගේ දේව ආරක්ෂ ලැබේවා.
Visitors of the Sirasa Namami Sirasa Vesak zone can enter the zone through Braybrook Place, stroll through the beautifully lit up streets and enjoy puppet exhibitions as well. The devotional song performances or Bhakti performances and dancehall were also held until midnight yesterday. Many government and private institutions have generously joined hands with the Sirasa Namami Sirasa Vesak zone this year as well.
Minister of Health and Mass Media Dr. Nalinda Jayatissa clarified the government's stance on the establishment of power in local government bodies following a program held in Colombo today.
We are the ones who actually won this election. 266 local government bodies is indeed the majority. From that too, we have the majority in over 150 local government bodies. We have the right to name our chairpersons, deputy chairpersons, mayors, deputy mayors, chief mayors and deputy chief mayors before the 19th of May. That is because it is the National People's Power that has claimed over 50% of the seats in those respective local government bodies. The Samagi Jana Balaveke is unable to name their office bearers for the 14 local government bodies they have claimed to have won before the 19th. Why? Because they do not have 50% of the seats. That is not all. Out of the 14 such local government bodies, in 4, their number of seats is equal to the number of seats we have won. For example, we can cite the Agalawata Pradesh Sabha and the Kalpitiya Pradesh Sabha. Both the NPP and the SJB have won an equal number of seats. Even though Sajid Premadasa talks big, he does not even have the power to name his office bearers before the 19th. We can appoint chairpersons and deputy chairpersons for over 150 local government bodies. For the rest, we can join forces with other parties supporting the government and smaller independent groups and work to establish power in local government bodies. That is because if they want to render a service to the village, they will have to do that by helping the government. Therefore, we have no issue with anything Sajid Premadasa has to say. Everything he has said so far will be invalid by the 2nd of July.
What is the stance of Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna with regards to the establishment of power in local government bodies?
The SJB's attempts are not officially relevant to us. They may have various attempts after the election. So let us wait and see what happens. There is a natural representation of the people's mandate within these local government institutions. We do not want to support any attempt that distorts that. This is our stance.
Views were expressed on the establishment of power in local government bodies at a media briefing held at the Samagi Jana Balaveke headquarters today.
Clearly, at this point we have already held several rounds of discussions on this matter, both with the teams appointed on the ground and with high-level party leaders. We believe that within the next 2 weeks, the opposition will be able to establish control over the local government bodies where it holds a majority of seats.
දැන් කවුද සජිත කොළඹ නගරාධිපති වෙන්නේ කවුද පත් කරන්නේ කවුද නම් කරන්නේ නෑ ඒක මෙහෙම අපිට ඍජුව කියන්න බෑ මොකද
We cannot state that directly. It must be done with the consensus among multiple parties. We should not make such decisions unilaterally. Even at this point, we are in the process of identifying strong, capable individuals who can work together with that team and move forward, and who can gain the agreement of all parties involved.
Meanwhile, the United National Party has announced that all opposition political party leaders under the leadership of Ranil Wickremesinghe, who met today, have reached an agreement to engage in discussions with all groups opposed to the National People's Power with the aim of establishing control in local government bodies and working in unison going forward. This meeting was held today at Ranil Wickremesinghe's political office located on Flower Road in Colombo. Representing the Samagi Jana Balaveke, MP Nalin Bandara participated in the discussions. In addition, several other political figures and party representatives attended the meeting, including former Speaker Mahindiyapa Abewardana, SLPP National Organizer Namal Rajapaksa, SLFP members Nimal Siripala de Silva and Duminda Disanayaka, Pivitru Helorumia leader Udaya Gammampila, Podujana Eksat Peremuna's Anuru Priyadarshana Yapa,
Ceylon Workers Congress leader Palani Digambaram, Democratic People's Front leader Manu Ganesan, Ceylon Workers Congress General Secretary Jeevan Thondaman. The UNP also stated that Dilip Javira, the leader of the Sarvajana Balaya party, joined the meeting via telephone. During this discussion led by Ranil Wickremesinghe, it was also decided that the General Secretaries of relevant parties will meet tomorrow to prepare the nominations and lists for the establishment of local government bodies.
The Court of Appeal has scheduled a hearing for the 26th June to review the petition requesting the disqualification of Member of Parliament Ramanathan Archana. The petition was presented today before an appeal court bench comprising Justices Mayadune Korea and Mahen Kopallava.
The petition was filed by Oshla Herath, leader of the Abhinava Nivahal Peramuna. The petitioner claims that MP Ramanathan Archana submitted his nomination for the recent general election while serving as a government medical officer. The petitioner argues that submitting nominations without resigning from government service is illegal and violates the provisions of the Election Act. According to the Constitution, the petitioner asserts that the MP is not qualified to hold a parliamentary seat and requests an order to disqualify him from his position. The petition names MP Dr. Ramanathan Archana and the Secretary General of Parliament among the respondents.
Former Agriculture Minister Mahindananda Alutkamage has filed an anticipatory bail application with the Colombo Magistrates Court seeking release before being taken into custody by the Bribery Commission. This request is related to the importation of substandard organic fertilizer during the previous government.
During today's hearing, Alutgamage's legal representative stated that President's Counsel Kalinga Intatisa is expected to present arguments regarding the anticipatory bail application. Consequently, the lawyers requested the court to schedule the hearing for Friday. The magistrate noted that due to the high number of cases scheduled for tomorrow and Friday, the court will hear arguments related to this case next Monday. The matter is scheduled to be heard again on the 19th of May.
Colombo High Court Judge Sujiva Nishanka today ordered that Nadun Chintaka Vikramaratna alias Harakkata, a suspected major drug trafficker currently held at the Tangol prison, be examined regarding his current medical condition by the Tangol Judicial Medical Officer or a medical officer appointed by them, and that a report be submitted to the court.
From inside the prisoner's dock, Harakkata, also known as a notorious underworld figure, told the court that he has been suffering from several health conditions, including hemorrhoids, for some time and is not receiving proper medical treatment. Accordingly, he requested the court to issue an order to provide him with medical care. After considering the facts presented, the judge said that when an individual has a medical condition, the pain is felt only by that individual. Therefore, he ordered the director of the Terrorism Investigation Division, or the TID, to take steps to submit a medical report to the court regarding the suspect's health condition. Appearing on behalf of Harakkata, President's Counsel Kapila Vaidyaratna informed the court that his client has been in detention under the Prevention of Terrorism Act for several years. He further said that a bail application will be submitted on behalf of his client in due course and that the court has the discretion to consider it. This case has been filed against Harakkata and 3 other suspects, including a former police constable who had served in the Criminal Investigations Department on 22 charges, including conspiring to escape from CID custody and aiding and abetting such an attempt.
The central bank said that April 2025 witnessed a surge in remittances from migrant workers.
In April 2025, Sri Lanka received remittances totaling $646.1 million from its overseas workers. According to the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, for the first 4 months of 2025, the total remittances sent by overseas workers amounted to $2,460.5 million. This represents an 18.3% increase compared to the $2,079.9 million recorded during the same period in 2024.
On to news overseas now. US President Donald Trump, referring to the India-Pakistan conflict, described his role as a peacemaker who is committed to resolving conflicts in the world. Now in Riyadh, he said that he told the two sides to not trade nuclear missiles and trade the things that you make so beautifully.
United States played a role in de-escalating tensions between India and Pakistan, which had reached a critical point. The intervention was pivotal in preventing a potential nuclear conflict between the two nuclear-armed neighbors.
Just days ago, my administration successfully brokered a historic ceasefire to stop the escalating violence between India and Pakistan, and I used trade to a large extent to do it. I said, fellas, come on, let's make a deal. Let's do some trading. Let's not trade nuclear missiles. Let's trade the things that you make so beautifully. And they both have very powerful leaders, very strong leaders, good leaders, smart leaders. And it all stopped. Hopefully it'll remain that way, but it all stopped. Maybe we can even get them together a little bit, Marco, where they go out and have a nice dinner together. Wouldn't that be nice? But we've come a long way, and it could be, millions of people could have died from that conflict that started off small and was getting bigger and bigger and bigger by the day.
Hours after US President Donald Trump urged India and Pakistan to go out to dinner together to resolve their disputes, the State Department said Washington is now focused on encouraging direct communication between the two nuclear-armed neighbors.
Well, what we are happy to see is a ceasefire. That is what we are happy to see. That's where our focus remains. And we want to see ceasefire be maintained. And we want to encourage direct communication. That is our focus here. Our focus is the ceasefire. Our focus is on encouraging direct communication. That's where our focus is going to remain. The President has spoken on this. And just to take the first part of your question, kind of focusing on a more global foreign policy front, talking about issues around the world, President Trump, is a peacemaker. He's a peacemaker. He values peace. He's also a deal maker. And he has shown that again and again and again in terms of both pursuing an America First agenda, but also pursuing peace and wanting to see peace and conflicts come to an end.
Pakistan's ambassador to the United States, Rizwan Saeed Sheikh, has appreciated the United States for its timely intervention that facilitated a ceasefire between India and Pakistan. Sheikh cautioned that the current ceasefire was fragile and urged continued international engagement, including from the United States, to address the underlying issues in the disputed territory of Jammu and Kashmir. The Indian government on Tuesday disputed US President Donald Trump's claim that the US mediated a ceasefire between India and Pakistan came about in part because he had offered possible trade concessions.
I said, come on, we're going to do a lot of trade with you guys. Let's stop it. Let's stop it. If you stop it, we're doing trade. If you don't stop it, we're not going to do any trade. People have never really used trade the way I used it. That I can tell you. And all of a sudden they said, I think we're going to stop. And they have. And they did it for a lot of reasons, but trade is a big one.
Addressing a weekly news conference, Randhir Jaiswal, the spokesman for India's foreign ministry, said there was no conversation on trade.
From the time of Operation Sindoor commenced on 7th May, till the understanding on cessation of firing and military action on 10th May, there were conversations between Indian and US leaders on the evolving military situation. The issue of trade did not come up in any of these discussions.
India had blocked the X account of Global Times and Xinhua News Agency, Chinese state-run media outlets, over its publication of what the centre described as disinformation concerning Operation Sindoor, a counter-terrorist operation conducted by the army targeting cross-border terrorist infrastructure. The move followed a public rebuke issued by the Indian Embassy in Beijing earlier this week, warning Global Times over its coverage of the military operation.
The United States of America and Saudi Arabia have signed a $142 billion defense sales agreement as part of a Saudi Arabian commitment to invest $600 billion in the United States during the first day of US President Donald Trump's visit to the Middle East. Speaking at an investment forum in Riyadh, Trump announced that US sanctions on Syria would be removed and said that it was time to give the country a chance at greatness.
Saudi Arabia was the first stop on a 4-day trip to the Middle East for Trump, and he was greeted on the tarmac at the airport in Riyadh by the kingdom's de facto ruler, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman and President Donald Trump co-chaired the Saudi-US summit at Al Yamama Palace, focusing on enhancing bilateral relations and strategic partnerships.
عليها أيضا فخامة الرئيس دونالد جي ترامب رئيس الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية.
Signing on behalf of the kingdom, His Royal Highness Prince Mohammed bin Salman bin Abdul Aziz Al Saud, Crown Prince and Prime Minister. Signing on behalf of the United States, the Honorable Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America.
Saudi Arabia and the United States signed agreements on energy, defense, mining, National Guard cooperation, judicial collaboration, space projects, customs assistance, air transport, medical research and cultural cooperation. The United States and Saudi Arabia signed the largest defense sales agreement in history, nearly $142 billion, providing Saudi Arabia with state-of-the-art warfighting equipment and services from over a dozen US defense firms. The package also includes extensive training and support to build the capacity of the Saudi armed forces, including enhancement of Saudi service academies and military medical services. The total deal package was built to more than $600 billion, the largest set of commercial agreements on record between the two countries. In Riyadh, President Trump charted the course for a prosperous future in the Middle East at the Saudi-US Investment Forum, while also praising the Crown Prince.
Exactly 8 years ago this month, I stood in this very room and looked forward to a future in which the nations of this region would drive the forces of terrorism and extremism, drive them right out of existence, and take your place among the proudest, most prosperous, most successful nations anywhere in the world as leaders of a modern and rising Middle East. So exciting, so exciting. Mohammed, do you sleep at night? How do you sleep? Huh? Just think it. What a job. He tosses and turns like some of us. Tosses and turns all night. How do I make it even better all night? It's the ones that don't toss and turn. They're the ones that will never take you to the promised land, won't they? But you have done some job. True. But critics doubted that it was possible what you've done. But over the past 8 years, Saudi Arabia has proved the critics totally wrong. the transformation that has occurred even by these incredible business leaders. I mean, you had the biggest leaders in business anywhere in the world standing right before us. But the transformation that has occurred under the leadership of King Salman and Crown Prince Mohammed has been truly extraordinary.
During his speech at the Saudi-US Investment Forum, Trump took a swipe at past US presidents for using US policy to punish foreign leaders for their sins.
In recent years, far too many American presidents have been afflicted with the notion that it's our job to look into the souls of foreign leaders and use U.S. policy to dispense justice. I believe it is God's job to sit in judgment, my job to defend America, and to promote the fundamental interest of stability, prosperity, and peace. In Syria, which has seen so much misery and death, there is a new government that will hopefully succeed in stabilizing the country and keeping peace. That's what we want to see in Syria. They've had their share of travesty, war, killing, many years. That's why my administration has already taken the first steps toward restoring normal relations between the United States and Syria for the first time in more than a decade. I will be ordering the cessation of sanctions against Syria in order to give them a chance at greatness.
The Syrian civil war began in 2011 during the Arab Spring, when pro-democracy protests erupted against President Bashar al-Assad's regime. Assad's violent crackdown on protesters escalated into a full-blown civil war involving numerous factions and international powers. In December 2024, a coalition toppled Assad and marked the end of his family's half-century rule and opened a new chapter for Syria. Saudi Arabia made global headlines by setting up a mobile McDonald's truck near its royal court in Riyadh as part of its high-profile welcome for US President Donald Trump. The double-decker unit, branded in both Arabic and English, quickly drew attention as journalists spotted the fast food installation near the media hub known as Media Oasis. In Riyadh, Saudi authorities appear to tailor even the smallest details of Trump's visit to his preferences. The visit marked the start of Trump's 4-day Middle East tour and was described as a symbolic deepening of US-Saudi ties.
Sri Lankan-born Tamil-Canadian MP Gary Ananda Sangari was sworn in as the Minister of Public Safety in Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney's new cabinet.
Gary Ananda Sangari was appointed today as the Minister of Public Safety in Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney's new cabinet. Ananda Sangari will oversee key agencies tasked with Canada's national security, including the Canada Border Services Agency, Royal Canadian Mounted Police and the Canadian Security Intelligence Service.
I, Gary Ananda Sangari, do solemnly and sincerely promise and swear that I will truly and faithfully and to the best of my skill and knowledge execute the powers and trusts reposed in me as Minister of Public Safety.
He previously served as the Minister of Justice and Attorney General, the first Tamil Canadian to do so, under Carney's first cabinet in March. He held this role alongside that of Minister of Crown, Indigenous Relations and Northern Affairs, to which he was appointed under former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's final cabinet in December 2024.
And that's a wrap of your primetime news for tonight.
Thank you for watching. Good night.